Have you ever noticed that when you cross paths with someone and exchange pleasantries, it's common to ask, "How are you?" Why do we do this? Seriously, think about it. Virtually never is it intended to actually signify that the other person has interest in knowing how you're doing. It's merely a common formality, a practice we've become accustomed to exchanging. We've lost the understanding of what that phrase means. I myself am guilty of this. We all likely are. Perhaps we should focus on genuinely meaning it when we ask and taking interest in the response. Of course, this raises the second problem with this custom. Even if the person asking us is genuine in their interest, the person answering virtually never gives an honest answer. When asked how we are doing, we commonly reply with, "I'm fine, I'm good, everything's okay, I'm well, doing all right," so on. People, when they are particularly down, will reply with, "I've been better, or "I'm surviving." This, however, is the faintest reflection of their actual emotional state and serves to communicate little to nothing. Can you imagine if someone having a really tough time answered you honestly when you asked them how they were doing? It would probably sound something like,
He turned to the one who had inquired about his state of being, and looked deeply into their eyes, making a genuine connection. The asker's eyes beckoned the truth, and expected to receive nothing less. "I've been feeling down," the question's recipient replied, visibly sorrowful. "I feel as though the weight of this world is crushing me. I feel as though I cannot escape. I feel oppressed to the depths of my soul as the insanity of this world attempts to force me to accept the endless torments of our make-believe system and corrupted society. Whilst the conformist in me understands that these systems can at times serve a purpose, the human spirit I possess feels tattered and worn away, like a rock being bashed endlessly by the tides of an infinite and indifferent sea. I feel myself erode a little more with each passing assault."
Jesus, can you imagine if some stranger answered you that honestly? You'd probably think they were moments away from committing suicide. However, I assure you that far more people feel this way than will ever admit it. Most people won't even be honest with the people they're supposed to trust, let alone a stranger. I find that deeply disturbing that something in our society has corrupted us to this extent that we hear the honest truth of a person's expression, particularly a negative one, and that's alarming to us and signals something is deeply wrong. An opposite issue exists if someone were to convey a feeling of great happiness. If someone were to tell you how wonderful their life was, would you feel happy for them, or jealous, and think them condescending? It's likely that in most cases, especially with a stranger, you would feel jealousy to see someone far happier than you feel, far better off than you perceive yourself. It's interesting how many of us don't rejoice in others' success or happiness. It is true that how we treat others is nothing more than a reflection of how we view ourselves, and most of us are likely not feeling very complete. I have an issue with this. We've created a society where asking people if they're okay is not sincere, where their answer is not sincere. And if a sincere answer is given, good or bad, we judge them harshly upon it, rather than seeking to understand and relate. We have conditioned ourselves to believe that emotional expression is wrong, that what others think about us is more important than what we think about ourselves. This brings about a great deal of self-inflicted suffering, and at a larger scale, social degeneration. Such suffering could be alleviated if we as a species stopped judging everyone, stopped wondering if they were judging us, and came to realize we're all suffering together, desperate for someone to reach out and tell us that they understand how we feel. Instead, we prefer to be alone in the darkness, surrounded by countless souls who ask insincerely if we're okay, to which in response we lie and tell them, "I'm fine." I know that all this seems like a deep examination for something so simple as a passing phrase we've become accustomed to exchange upon greetings. I believe it serves to illustrate a much deeper and far darker reality of the human condition and the twisted nature of society. Much of man's suffering, if not all, is indeed self-inflicted, and could be alleviated if mankind would simply open themselves to the reality of the situation. Then healing could begin.